I'm Katrina and I am a postpartum exercise specialist that helps moms with diastasis. So, what does that have to do with inflammation and the work that Jenny does on the food swaps and all this really exciting information you are being given? Well, I thought I would come on and tell you a little bit about it. So I've got my trusty bands, and no, we're not going to do exercises. These are some props to help us understand a little bit more about diastasis. This is going to be my connective tissue. All right, so with diastasis, let's just pretend, let me just put this in here. These are, let's get rid of my connective tissue. These are your rectus abdominis. So rectus abdominis is your six-pack abs. So those are the ones that come down the front. And in general, there's a little gap that's always been there because everybody's born with a gap between their rectus abdominis. You just can't tell because it's nice and firm. All right, now when we're pregnant, what happens is our obliques tighten and our rectus abdominis come apart, a little bit like this. So let me just get my chin in here, and they come apart like this. So they stretch apart, and this is natural. This is what's meant to happen when we're pregnant, because as our belly grows, our obliques pull and our rectus abdominis pull apart like this. So we end up with this gap whilst we're pregnant, and that's totally fine because it's normal. And then after pregnancy, that gap is meant to kind of come back in like this. And again, it doesn't shut completely for most people because a two-finger gap is totally normal. Look at any fitness model, man or female, who have those six-pack abs all ripped, and you'll see there is a line down the center dividing the rectus abdominis up. And what that is, it is connective tissue. Right, so our connective tissue is a tissue that goes between those muscles and it stretches like this. So as we get pregnant, it stretches out, and then after pregnancy, it comes back in like this and regains its tension. Now that tension is regained by strengthening our TVAs, which is our deep core system. That's what's connected to the pelvic floor to stop our peeing our pants and all of that good stuff. Okay, so for some people, this connective tissue doesn't come back and hold that tension. So if it's got nice tension there, we'll be able to push into it. And just like this band, it'll be like a trampoline type base, okay, in between the muscles. And this is a functional core. Some people's connective tissue stays floppy like this. So even though their rectus abdominis come back in, it's floppy. And that can cause, let's just see, can cause it to dome out if you're doing exercises incorrectly, or if you force it in, it can actually sink in like this and you end up with what looks like no gap, but if you put your fingers into it, it's like squishy and goes right down. Now, why is all of this so important with the food you choose to eat? So that inflammatory foods. Now, Jenny has been telling us all about how when we eat food that's inflammatory, so whether it be the wheat or the sugar or the cow dairy, the GMOs, the soy, all of that stuff, right? It goes to the weakest point in your body. Now, for some of us, like myself, I have arthritis in my back. So if I eat sugar, I get a flare up and my back really hurts. I will also bloat in certain areas. For people who have diastasis, the weak area is this connective tissue. So where do you think that inflammation is going to go? It's going to push out on that connective tissue and cause bloating. And this is that common issue where people say, I eat a piece of bread and I look 6 months pregnant. Or I eat some candy and I suddenly look 6 months pregnant. Do you see the difference here? Like bread, wheat, inflammatory food. Sugar, processed sugar, inflammatory food, all causing bloating. And that inflammation is going to the weak point in your body, which after pregnancy is down that center line. So you eat this inflammatory food and you cause that bloating, which is pushing out. Now here's where the big issue is. Often we're like, I can't give up on my bread. I can't give up on my crackers. I can't give up on my glass of wine at night. I'm trying. I am, Jenny. I am trying. All right? I even have a wine glass and some nice water, and I sip it, and I feel really good with my glass. It's not quite the same, but I'm getting there. I am getting better at it. But the fact is, when we don't give up on it, and we may not even feel like it's impacting us that much, but when we don't give up on it, and that inflammation goes to our weak point in our body, hence diastasis, so this connective tissue, what's happening is that bloating. Now let's just see if I can work this out. We've got the connective tissue, which is meant to be nice and taut here, and we're working our core exercises really hard to bring our muscles back together. But if we have bloating that keeps pushing out on our connective tissue, doesn't matter how much exercise we do, we're not going to be able to bring it all back in because we have pressure from the inside coming out all the time. Okay? We need to reduce that pressure from the inside. For some people, that may be reducing weight because you need to lose the fat that's in there, putting the pressure out. For some people, it's removing the bloating that's coming from the inside out. Both of those things are caused by food, and inflammatory foods are the worst for both of those things as well. So this is why this video series is so important. I want you to be able to reduce that pressure from the inside pushing out so that you can work the exercises on the outside to bring everything in. Because as you get stronger, as your muscles get stronger, as your connective tissue regains its elasticity and strength because you're not always putting pressure out into it, that is what's going to help you regain a functional core. Now, we have got a couple more excellent videos coming up. Jenny is going to tomorrow. She shares a load of recipes, her book, which is awesome. Everybody's got to try her fluffy sandwich bread, and she's got cakes and all sorts of things. So this doesn't mean you have to deprive yourself, but it means you need to think about what decisions you make so that you can work your diastasis as a holistic approach. Inside, outside, alignment, breathing, all of those things work together to regain that functional core. And then our last video is about the other things that food can impact, those inflammatory foods. So have you ever felt like tired, or that brain fog, or that I just can't get off the couch to do my exercises and I know I should? Yeah? That type of thing? That's impacted by our food as well. Now, I'm not talking about the normal mum tiredness that we've been up 3 times the night before because somebody's going through a growth spurt or somebody peed their bed and you have to change the sheets. I'm not talking about that tiredness. That's normal. What's not normal is that tiredness to be there every day. That kind of sinking down feeling of everything is just hard to do, right? You know what I mean? That it's just hard to make yourself go and make lunch. It's hard to get off the couch. It's hard to do the daily activities that we are meant to be doing. Now, removing all those inflammatory foods, remembering it takes 2 weeks for it to get out of your system, is going to also help with your energy levels. Now think about this. Your energy levels are higher, you're not as tired, you're more focused, you don't have the pressure coming out, and you're now able and feel physically capable of doing the exercises you're meant to be doing. How much faster the healing process is going to be. Now, I know I've talked a lot about diastasis, But there are other impacts as well. Anybody with arthritis, other chronic symptoms, headaches, neck pain, all of that side of things, it's also helping as well.